That was very moving speech or presentation, Margot. I was really struck when you said that it happens, but I don't forgive. And I just, for a moment, thought of my mother, who was back in 1991, was forced to leave her home in a state where she was basically out of her mind, because a war happened and we were dragged out of the house to save us, my father trying to save our lives. And for quite a long time, she felt that coming to England was a sentence passed down to her, and that she would have been better off being somewhere near the victims or people that she knew, her community, back in Somalia. And for quite a long time, she never forgave. And being a Muslim and being of the Islamic faith, you have to forgive for the sake of God, so that you can get a blessing. That's the Islamic point of view. And she felt that she was out of... she wasn't being a good Muslim, and she was, rebelling the doctrine of the religion. And just few months before she got dementia, just few months before she died, she said something to me, and which sounded like that she healed long time ago, but she just did not want to say, "I forgive." But she let go of, bitterness and anger, but she just did not want to say, because that did not mean anything to her. So I thought to just reinforce that.
What is your mum's name? What is your name, firstly?
Muna. I work with Initiatives of Change for the Refugees as Rebuilders Program.
Okay.
My mother died a year and 4 months ago.
And her name, Muna?
Her name was Amina.
Amina, thank you. I just wanted to carry it. Thank you.
Would anyone else like to ask something? Yes, we have someone here.
My name is Chia. First of all, Margot, thank you very much for sharing your very touching story. I wanted to ask a question about the words "I'm sorry." When you said the murderer of your father emailed you, you never said what he actually said in this email, but I was wondering whether at any point he said, "I am sorry," or "forgive me," or "please forgive me," or something along those lines. And I personally believe that true forgiveness probably only happens when you don't even need to hear the word sorry from the other person. In a way, understanding replaces the need to forgive in a strange kind of way. But that's very easy to say on a day-to-day, "Oh, he said he would call and he didn't, so I'm mad at him." That's our daily silly things that we get mad at. And that's much easier to forgive. But I cannot imagine a situation where a loved one has been brutally murdered and then you go through the forgiveness process. So how important do you think the words "I'm sorry" are? And I'd like to hear maybe both of your opinions about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief, for your question. I will tell you this. It depends on what a person needs and what they are hearing. And I'm not giving that like the easy answer. Really and truly, if someone needs to hear, "I am sorry," and if it is given, then that's okay. So each story, each relationship is different. So when my dad's murderer emailed, I saw what was done is he sent a donation to my press, Palabras, and it was supposed to be anonymous, and I saw the name. And I'd literally just come back from the States with this fancy award. Yay, it's looking good. But I knew when I received the award, I could feel my dad's bullets in me. He was shot here, and someone else shot him in his back. So what I said is, do you mind giving me an apology, please? That's all I just said, do you mind giving me an apology? And that was it. And I got, And we, both of us, don't actually believe in the word forgiveness. Both of us believe one thing, but it is actually, it's a gift. It is not something. It's not something. So we have that in common. We have had that in common. So, no, and it was fine. But if he had said, I'm sorry, and I knew that something inside of my body said, but this is just lying, we have very good instincts. So that's what I mean. We are in relationship. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I agree with what you're saying. I think that, words are words, aren't they? It's very much down to behaviour. I was quite struck by hearing Ian Paisley once talking about Martin McGuinness, former IRA activist, and he was asked by a reporter, how can you bear to work with them, because they work very closely together in the end, and because he showed no remorse, he never apologised. And Ian Paisley said, it was quite striking when he said, it doesn't matter, because remorse is measured by how you live your life. And I thought that was quite powerful. The other interesting thing that I find is thinking about what the French philosopher Derrida talks about, that the only acts that are called for forgiveness in a way are the unforgivable. Because he says those that can be mended and repaired through apology, remorse, whatever, really it doesn't come into it.
It's a paradox in a way.
Unforgivable, he says. I mean, there's a big philosophical debate attached to that.
And if you can't do it, Sawbonna. We're in it anyway. I'm not kidding. I believe that. I believe it with all of my heart. But I tell you, one quick thing. I've been traveling for the last almost 6 months and giving talks and workshops across Canada, and then now in the Netherlands and here. And anyway, but in one of the talks that I gave, there was a very Christian lay minister and very God-fearing man. I will use that language. So for him, he spoke about forgiveness like he was adamant. But I said, but why not? Does that work when you do your work? Does that language work for you? And for the people with whom you work? So I'm not married, like I'm not, throw it out. No, it's not. No, what works? What moves the heart? What invites a different conversation? I know Sawbonna invites a different conversation, and I love it. And it's one of the reasons I treasure this woman sitting right here, is because we've had conversations. I mean, before I met her, I thought, oh my God, she's one of these holy people, oh my God, forgive and all this. And then when we met and we spoke, then we've never looked back, quite frankly, because Marina is doing exactly what I am doing. We're doing the same thing. It's about story. She's a writer, I'm a writer. It's about language, and definitely about relationship. So it's not like, throw out that forgiveness, I really hate it. I'm like, oh, what gives shared humanity? So, yeah.
We've got time for a couple more questions, if you would like, or comments. We've got one at the back.
One here.
Last time I looked, I was. Hi, I'm Lou. Again, thank you very much. I come from a background of being a therapist and a parish priest. So lots of talk around forgiveness, how do we heal, etc., etc. And having been working with this for years, not only with other people, but having to find a way forward for myself in Christian communities that often are not the most healing and forgiving places, dare we say, on occasion. I was very fortunate to, a couple of weeks ago, to go and see Michelle Obama speak on becoming, which was wonderful. And something really, really struck me, and I've been practicing it since, and it sounds, I don't know whether I've just been naive for 50 years or what, but she talked about the process of becoming and asking ourselves, who are we becoming in that moment? Okay. And how powerful a tool it is to ask that question when we're in a situation of conflict or difficulty. You know, who am I becoming in this moment? My response, what will it make me become? And that's the whole thing about grace and coming into being as we should fruit. So keep asking that question. And it's not always being pulled by somebody else, but taking responsibility and saying, you know, if I respond this way, who do I become? And do I want to become like that? I just thought I'd throw that in because I thought that was an interesting.
Mm-hmm, it's interesting, yeah.
If you're only 1% wrong, do you still feel that you should seek forgiveness?
Can you say that?
Yes, if you feel you're only 1% wrong, do you still feel you should ask forgiveness?
Yeah, no. Oh, no, all I was going to say, I'm sure you know my answer, so I'll just zip. It's not part, it is irrelevant to me. That question is irrelevant to me. So, yours.
Well, I try not to use the should word. Marshall Rosenberg called it the most violent word in
Yes.
English language.
Nonviolent communication.
So if someone has done something once, you know, if they feel they want to ask for forgiveness from someone, that's fine. You know, and it's such a personal thing, isn't it? That's why I don't really like to respond to that kind of question, because it's so individual. It's hard to me imagine that it would be an issue if it was 1%. Have you got any?
Mm-hmm. Is there
a particular
specific?
Thing? Right, and it's a dilemma. Is it a dilemma?
It's a past relationship.
Yeah.
Do I need to apologise for my part in that relationship?
I think conversations are great, and see where they go. You know, just this common ground, shared humanity.
Mm-hmm.
See. Thank you, though. Interesting question.
Indeed. May I make one quick response to that, please? I was at a prison I mentioned I've gone to many, many prisons, and it was interesting because a young fellow said, you know, you talk about meeting the guy who murdered your dad, and that's good and everything. He said, but you know what? All that I ever did was a B&E, a break and enter. And someone else in the room said this thing that's quite interesting. So it relates a little bit to your 1%, because someone said, yes, but that break and enter, those people are now in therapy. It was I'll tell you a little bit the story. I found out, it's a very old couple. They were terrified and petrified. Their lives were absolutely destroyed because of that break and enter. And it was interesting because, when that person said that, there must have been trust because he heard what that person said. And I said, I never compare. I know it may sound crazy, but I don't know. Murder might affect someone differently. So that break and enter always stayed with me. Always stayed. For that couple, it really destroyed their lives. Yes, murder destroyed mine, but here I am. So yeah, it's the relationship and yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Is everyone longing, aching to say something or ask something? Because I think it's quite deep, and
lots of information.
And maybe we don't have to leave this room. I think it's a good idea to call it to an end now, and then carry on talking more informally if we want to.
And you wanted a...
Does somebody else want to ask a question?
I didn't think anyone did, but obviously they can.
No, then...
Can I just say one thing? Just in response to sorry, I mean, I was the Secretary of Australia's National Sorry Day Committee, and when the Prime Minister made an apology, that was a huge event. for the people who received it. So there are times when sorry is really important.
Yeah, thank you. So I just want to say thank you so much to all of you for coming.
Yes, thank you.
And let us thank Marina and Margot with the easiest way we know how, with a round of applause.
Yeah, do it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all very much for coming. I, as Marina said, I found it very deep, and there's lots to go away and reflect on from what Margot shared. And you know, I think you're really good value as well, Margot. So I'm going to say that because you know it's deep, but it was fun too for me.
Good.
So yeah. And thank you all for coming. As I said at the beginning, there are some magazines if you're interested at the back, or a couple of Marina's books if you want to buy one at $8.99 or $9.99. Talk to Elias about that. And if you'd like to join our mailing list, you can either do that on our website and subscribe to hear more wonderful people like Margot, or to hear about any of our other events. But thank you very much for coming. And you know the way that you came in, and that is the way out. So don't get lost. Thank you.